25%, that is 1 out of 4 US citizens, have some kind of police record, either on some incident regarding traffic or domestic disturbance, etc., etc. 25%. With the ever-increasing policy of private sector companies in the United States to do a background check on criminal incidents of the possible candidates for a position, and having the fact that 25% of the population have this type of background record, it means that companies are finding more and more difficult to get suitable candidates or suitable employees for the position they're looking for. Doing a background check on a person is illegal in the United States, but nevertheless, companies do it. By January 1st, 2008, more than 1 in 100 adults in the United States was in prison or jail. In 2008, approximately 1 in every 31 adults, that is 7.3 million of United States citizens, were behind bars or being monitored by probation or parole. Although in the latest year, crime rates have declined by about 25%. In the last decade, the United States has experienced a surge in its prison population, quadrupling since 1980, partially as a result of mandatory sentencing that came about during the war on drugs. Violent crime and property crime has declined since the early 1990s. As the consequence of the three strikes laws, the increase in the duration of incarceration in the last decade was most pronounced in the case of life prison sentences, which increased by 83% between 1992 and 2003. In 2002, a study survey showed that among nearly 275,000 prisoners released in 1994, 67.5% were rearrested within 3 years, and 51.8% were back in prison. This is one of the highest percentage of recidivism in the world. Critics have lambasted the United States for incarcerating a large number of non-violent and victimless offenders. Half of all persons incarcerated under the state jurisdiction are for non-violent offenses, and 20% are incarcerated for drug offenses. We also have to mention the importance that the so-called war on drugs has had into increasing the prison population in the United States. Drug offenses are punished with very long prison terms, and those includes offenses involving marijuana, which is a fairly harmless drug that in most countries, although it's illegal, does not carry so many years in jail for an offense. Human Rights Watch believes the extraordinary rate of incarceration in the United States wreaks havoc on individuals, families and communities, and saps the strength of the nation as a whole. Private companies which provide services to prisons combine in the American Correctional Association, which advocates legislation favorable to the industry. Such private companies comprise what has been termed the prison industrial complex. So, what is wrong with this picture? Well, you take vengeance on your citizens that have wronged you. As a society, you do not want to fix these criminals. You want to punish them for what they did. That is called in my book, you harvest what you sow. The same will be happening with their health system. The only industrialized, developed country in the world with a privatized public health system is the United States.
Healthcare in America, it is the costliest in the world, but is it the best? Not according to a report by the Commonwealth Fund, which actually ranked the U.S. dead last in a study that included 7 nations.
And they studied all the models in the world. And we asked the guy who designed the Taiwan healthcare system, what did you learn from America?
Right.
He said it was very easy. From America, you learned how not to do it.
Wow.
So what I've tried to do is really ground this in fact.
Yeah.
What I've been struck by is that the whole argument against some government involvement, first of all, ignores the fact that we have huge government involvement.
Right.
And the second part is that everyone who makes these arguments against the government, there is some fantasy theoretical version of healthcare that they talk about. What I say is you can reason from principle, but you also got to reason from facts and reality. We have 20 other countries in the world that do this. all of them are able to do it better and substantially cheaper than us. So to me, it feels like the task is not to junk all this and say there's some utopia out there that's never been tried in any actual human society. Rather to say, look, we've got a messy reality with the government and markets working together. Let's fix it.
It seems sensible, right? The private sector can do things more efficiently. It doesn't work in healthcare.
T.R. Reid, a former overseas bureau chief with the Washington Post, toured the world's healthcare systems for his recent book, The Healing of America.
The least efficient payers in the world are the American private insurance companies. They have administrative costs of 20 to 30%. That's a 30% tax on every dollar you spend on healthcare. Britain is totally socialized medicine, administrative costs 5%. Canada is private doctors and public payers, 6% administrative costs. So it turns out in healthcare, governments are doing this more efficiently than our private sector.
Having seen this information that I have presented you, you might ask, but what is wrong with what we are doing in the United States? Well, you have to understand that what you're doing is wrong. You have to wake up. Your legal system was made for vengeance, not for rehabilitation. And your health system is made up for profit, not to improve public health. As a result of this lack of vision, the United States is paying the consequence. It is lagging in many quality of living and human development indicators. Here is a graphic depicting the United States of America performance on several human and social developmental indicators. The United States of America is ranked 31st in infant survival rate, 37th in quality of health care, 33rd in scientific literacy, 27th in renewable energy used, 16th in mobile phones per capita, 35th in effectiveness of education, 22nd on lack of corruption, 40th on the smallest prison population, 15th in internet speed, 41st in freedom of press, 17th in democracy, and 30th on life expectancy. Wait a minute, 17th on democracy? The country who has promoted democracy most in the world is today number 17th. It is sad to say, but United States is not number one in any of those good indicators. My sister's husband, that is a New Yorker conservative, accused me of being anti-American, a United States hater, because I presented him with this data. I do not hate America. In my country, we have a famous saying, when United States cough, we get the flu. What you Americans have failed to understand is that you have been a leader of the world on these indicators for so many years. That is appalling that you have let down not only you people, but the rest of the world by becoming obsolete in the issues of human development. Again, I do not hate the United States. It just saddens me that we all are going to suffer your lack of vision.